Language families, the Indo-European. Modern linguistic research has shown that languages can be grouped into families and that many, which now appear widely different in vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, etc., are traceable to a common ancestor. When two languages have evolved by a process of continuous change out of a single original language, we say that they are related. The process of divergent development from a single original language leading to the formation of new languages has given rise to groups of related languages or language families. The four language families that have been scientifically examined are the Hamitic, the Semitic, the Ural-Altaic, and the Indo-European. Indo-European is one of the four major families of languages. This parent language has been variously named Aryan, Indo-Germanic, Proto-European, and Indo-European. Indo-European family. Indo-European was spoken about 3000 to 3500 BC by the nomadic tribes of Central Asia who wandered in the lands around the Black Sea. In course of time, these tribes split up and immigrated in different directions across the continent of Eurasia in search of new pastures and arable land. Consequently, several different dialects of the parent language arose, developing into independent languages. Sanskrit in the east and Latin in the west were among the earliest to exist as independent languages. The 8 branches of the Indo-European family have generally been divided into two groups, the Satem or Eastern group and the Kentum or Western group. This classification is based on a shift in the velar consonants k and g. The Indo-European velar plosives k and g developed into alveolar fricatives sh or s in the Eastern group, while in the Western group k and g were retained as velar plosives. Kumton, the Indo-European form for the word 100 in Avestan language, developed into Satem in Sanskrit and Kentum in Latin. For example, Latin peccu is pasu in Sanskrit and Latin deca is desa or dasha in Sanskrit. The two groups of the Indo-European family are the Eastern or Satem group and the Western or Kentum group. The Eastern group consists of Indo-Iranian, Albanian, Armenian, and Balto-Slavonic, and the Western group consists of Hellenic or Greek, Italic, Celtic, and primitive Germanic or Teutonic. Indo-Iranian, the first in the Eastern or Satem group. This branch has two groups, Indian and Iranian. Classical Sanskrit belongs to the Indian group. Classical Sanskrit is a later form of Vedic Sanskrit in which the Vedas were written. Side by side with classical Sanskrit, there existed a large number of local dialects known as Prakrit. Languages such as Hindi, Urdu, Oriya, Bengali, Assamese, Marathi, Sindhi, Punjabi, Kashmiri, and Nepali have descended from Prakrit. Sinhalese, the chief language of Sri Lanka, though far remote from the mainland of India, is also Indian. Iranian includes modern Persian and neighboring languages such as Kurdish, Afghan or Pashto in Afghanistan, and Baluchi in Balochistan, and also Avestan, the language of the Saint Avesta, the sacred book of the Zoroastrians. Albanian is the language of ancient Illyria. It is spoken northwest of Greece on the eastern coast of the Adriatic. Armenian is heard in a small area south of the Caucasus Mountains and the eastern end of the Black Sea. Balto-Slavonic falls into two groups, Baltic, comprising Old Prussian, Lithuanian, and Lettish. Lithuanian is important because it is very conservative by nature and has preserved some of the Indo-European features which have disappeared from the other languages. And the Slavonic group comprises Russian, Bulgarian, Serbian, Czech, and Polish. To the Western group, we have Hellenic or Greek. There were several Greek dialects like Attic, Ionic, Doric, and Aeolic, of which the most important was Attic spoken in Athens. It owed its supremacy to the dominant political and cultural positions of Athens. The dialects of modern Greece have descended from Attic. Italic consisted of a number of dialects of ancient Italy, including Oscan, Ambrian, and Latin. Latin, the language of Rome, was the chief of these dialects. As the political influence of Rome became dominant throughout Italy, Latin drove out Oscan and Ambrian. With the extension of the Roman Empire, Latin was carried to many parts of Europe. The various languages which represent the survival of Latin in the different parts of the Roman Empire are known as the Romance or Romane languages. They are not derived from classical Latin, that is the language of Cicero and Virgil, but from Vulgar Latin, which was the language spoken by the masses. The chief Romance languages are French, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. Celtic. At the beginning of the Christian era, Celtic was widely diffused over Europe. But today, Celtic survives in languages spoken by the minorities in the British Isles. It can be divided into three groups: Gaulish or Gaelic, the language of Gaul; Britannic was the branch of Celtic spoken in Britain before the Anglo Saxon invasions. It has survived in Cornish and Welsh; and the Gaelic, which includes Scottish Gaelic, Irish Gaelic, and Manx, spoken in the Isle of Man; and Primitive Germanic or Teutonic. This is the most important of the eight language groups. This group consists of three divisions: North Germanic, East Germanic, and West Germanic. From North Germanic, we have modern languages like Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, and Icelandic. East Germanic has given as Gothic and Burgundian, of which we have some records left in fragmentary translations of the Christian Gospels. West Germanic is further subdivided into three: High German, from which we have Modern German; Low German, from which we have Dutch; and Anglo Saxon or Old English, from which we have Middle English and Modern English. And this is finally the Indo-European family tree, a chart which shows the divisions of the Eastern group and the Western group. In the Eastern group, as you see, we have Indo-Iranian, Armenian, Albanian, and Balto-Slavonic. And Indo-Iranian is dividing into Indian and Iranian, and Balto-Slavonic to Baltic and Slavonic. And Western group also consists of four divisions: Celtic, Greek or Hellenic, Italic, and Primitive Germanic or Teutonic, from which the modern English has derived. So this is about the Indo-European family. Thank you.